Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pwn to Own Tokyo 2020, live from Toronto. I am Dustin Childs with the Zero Day Initiative. We are here for our final attempt of day 2. In this case, the dev core team is going to be targeting the Synology DiskStation DS418 Play NAS. It'll be the first time the Synology has been put to test, and it'll be great to see what the dev core team has planned for it. So I know the folks in Toronto are standing by and they are ready to get rocking and rolling. So I'll toss it over to them and I'll say, Abdul, you have the floor.
Ready. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1, go.
太慢了吧？那超慢哎！哎，很少。
So I have been told that this exploit may take a little bit of time to run. So don't be surprised if we run that clock down a little bit before we get an answer, yes or no, on the exploit.
对啊，这样第一个 exploit 真的可以 work 吗？
So again, as a reminder, as you're looking at those clocks, you've got 20 minutes, but 3 attempts of 5 minutes apiece that occur within those 20 minutes. So that's why you see the top clock that starts at 5 minutes. After, if you go past that 5 minutes, that one will get reset, but the bottom clock will keep rolling.
干嘛？1分钟过了吗？
And it's nice that they've set a camera right up there for the front of the NAS for us. Don't expect to see any flashing lights or any other sort of physical display should this succeed.
帮我确认一下 V2 它的那个不是 timeout 跟睡的，对睡的。
So we've just passed the 3-minute mark of the first attempt. And again, so far, no failure is also not a bad sign. Okay, according to Abdul, there is some progress going on there. We are approaching the 2-minute mark here within the first 5-minute attempt. Now, again, I haven't read the submission for this particular entry, so I don't know if there's a race condition or a brute force or perhaps multiple info leaks that are trying to happen. We are down to 90 seconds of the first entry, the first attempt, I should say, of this entry. Okay, we're down to our last minute of the first attempt. We're on 30 seconds now. In 10. Yep, that is time on the first attempt. And of course, he does have 2 other attempts of 5 minutes each, still within that 20-minute period. Okay, but looks like they're getting ready to start the second attempt almost immediately. And yep, that second attempt has started now.
I mean, you're definitely adding a lot of, you know, a lot of hands over here, so it's a good thing. Okay, there's a little bit of progress over here.
Okay. Seems like we've got some progress, which is good because we're running really close to the 3-minute mark left in this attempt.
It should be great.
And again, without knowing exactly what's going on, we can only speculate what may be happening. I mean, if they're trying to overflow a particular register, it might be an issue of finding the correct register. So there's an info disclosure aspect to it, or it could be a race condition that they are desperately trying to hit.
Yeah, we're almost there. No.
With the mask protocol in place, it's a little difficult to tell the facial features of our crew in Toronto. I can't tell if they're smiling like it's getting close or what's going on, but I think there's some progress being made there.
We definitely are. Thank you.
Down to 2 minutes.
Come on. All right, it's almost there. Come on. Come on.
90 seconds left.
Yeah, we got it.
All right.
Yeah, man.
I'm guessing by the applause and positive affirmations there that we have got a successful entry.
What's up, dude? You can.
With 1 minute and 20 left.
Okay. Yeah, you can say the screen now.
Okay, we'll take a
Hey
look at
man,
the
you almost
screen.
got us a heart attack over here.
And yeah, that is definitely a root show.
Good job, good job.
Well, good for
Yeah,
him.
thank
Not so
you.
good for people like me.
Yeah,
who do
exciting.
One of these things. Remind me to
Good-
check
good
my
work,
phone
good
a little
work.
later tonight. Make sure that my
Yeah,
synology
it's-
is not accessible from the internet. But congratulations to him. That's a fine way to cap off day 2. So of course, as with all the other attempts, they then head back into the disclosure room. They'll go through all the details, and of course, we will contact Synology right away, provide them with all the details as well. So thanks for watching most of day 2. We've got just one thing left on the day. An hour from now, I'm going to sit down with Brian Borens, who is our Senior Director of ZDI, and we'll kind of like show, we'll go through what day 2 brought and what to expect on day 3. If nothing else, DevCore will be back tomorrow morning to take a look at the Western Digital. And if this one is proven 100% successful, and they do 100% successful tomorrow morning, they could actually tie for Master of Poem. So, which means a tie for Master of Poem, that gets to stay with me. I think those are the rules, and none of them get to keep it. But we'll figure out something. In any case, thanks for joining us. And like I said, we've got a couple videos coming up. We're going to go really old school. We're going to throw it back to the ancient days of the internet, 2013. But please enjoy these couple of quick videos from Pwn to Own, mobile Pwn to Own back then. And then Brian and I will be back to wrap up day 2 at 5. So we'll see you then.
Pwn to Own is one of the largest hacking competitions in the world. We focus on demonstrating zero-day vulnerabilities in the latest browsers, web plugins, mobile applications, and focus on bringing out the greatest security research that's happening in the world. As companies start implementing BYOD and people start storing more information on their phone, it's important that we actually test all of the mitigations that are put in place to make sure that that information is as secure as possible.
Today we exploited the browser, and this will allow for a remote attacker to run a software agent to be able to do various things with the computer. They could spy on the processes, they can launch programs, they can take screenshots. Basically, it would own the computer.
So basically, we will exploit the latest version of iOS, which is 7.0.3. We are going to steal your credential for your mobile phone and log into your Facebook or Twitter or any other kind of SNS stuff, and we are able to mimic your credential. So think about the impact could be huge. If you actually steal the credential of a celebrity, for example, Obama or some famous singer, and you use their Facebook to send something which is improper, then the impact will be huge. And also you can steal their privacy. So we have practiced that a lot of times. And just
but just as a demonstration, yeah. We didn't use it.
no, we didn't really steal Obama's Facebook, of course.
Yeah.
All of the vulnerabilities that have been disclosed at the competition today have already been sent to the vendor for remediation. The vendors will actually verify the vulnerabilities that have come in. They'll develop a patch and deploy it out to the greater community to secure software.
Pwn to Own is the most famous contest around, and it is helpful and important since, first of all, it helps the vendors to realize that specific vulnerability. And secondly, it also pushes the vendor to deploy stronger defense, stronger security countermeasures. So exploiting vulnerabilities will be much harder. My name is James Bang.
My name is Daniel Wang.
My name is Liang Chen.
So basically, we will exploit the latest version of iOS, which is 7.0.3. And we are going to steal the credential of the user whom is using the phone, log on to Facebook, and we're going to steal that piece of credential to our laptop, and then we'll demonstrate that we're able to log in that guy's Facebook account using our own laptop. And now we have the mobile Pwn to Own account. Log in here. And for the other demo on iOS 6.1.4, We are also tricking users to click on a link which directs into our malicious code. And that code will exploit the vulnerability in mobile Safari and will steal the photo. So it will actually send the photo to our machine, and you'll be able to get the photo just remotely steal from that people's iPhone. Punctual is the most famous contest around, and it is helpful and important since, first of all, it helps the vendors to realize that specific vulnerability. And secondly, it also pushes the vendor to deploy stronger defense, stronger security countermeasures. So exploiting vulnerabilities will be much harder. And for the past years, it has been proven that by holding contests like punctual, something like that, it is actually the attackers, just like us, actually making and pushing the vendors forward.
That was a powerful trio there. When did you guys start? You started tomorrow at the same time? I'll take a copy of that bug JPEG if you have it. We'll use it on stuff. Yeah. We'll dump it into our graphics files for folks to use. And you gotta go put your own graphics there too. Kind of like the through the glass camera shot. It looks like you're just peering into the room.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the very end of Pwn to Own 2020 Tokyo, live from Toronto, day 2. Don't worry, we still have one more day to go, so it's not the end of everything. But we had a great day of research, and I wanted to sync with my boss, Brian Goritz, who's the head of the Zero Day Initiative. Brian, are you there, and can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We are good to go.
Excellent.
So what initial thoughts of day 2 for Pwn to Own Tokyo, live from Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, another exciting day here at Pwn to Own. I mean, when you start off with a WAN exploit against a home router, that's always quite interesting. Team Flashback really brought the goods on that one. And then across the board, you saw all sorts of stuff happen at the contest. You had a full collision where every single bug in the chain was actually previously known. We had partial collisions where 2 out of the 3 bugs used in the chain were unknown at the time. We had somebody try to use an NDA at Pwn to Own, and then we ended off with 2 really nice successful wins. One from Synactive where they had a 3-bug chain that actually caused the lights on the router to blink in a funny way, and then DevCore bringing some really elegant heap overflows to the contest.
Yeah, the heap overflow was really interesting because their first attempt ran out of time. They timed out, and then their second attempt, I think they only had 1:20 left before they were able to get code execution. So is that indicative of that's a big heap, or is that what else is that? What's going on with that?
Well, it seemed that they were looking at the screen. Not everybody can see it, but it seems like they were trying to leak data out, and they were only allowed to leak out a little bit of data at a time. And so once they were able to get all the information they needed to proceed with the exploit, that's what I think was taking so long in that chain. So again, a lot of these, it takes a very interesting exploit techniques to put these together. And I think in this case, when this white paper comes out and we release it publicly, I think a lot of people can learn from it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see this one, and not just as a Synology owner, but Abdul immediately called it an elegant heap overflow, which is pretty high praise coming from him. So definitely looking forward to seeing the details of this once it gets patched. And then let's go back to the beginning of the day, because it hardly seems like it's been such a long day. It's like, yeah, we had a WAN exploit at the beginning of this day on the TP-Link router. That was great. They used 3 different bugs on the WAN interface to get complete control. And I think you saw that. What was your impression of that exploit?
Yeah, I mean, I love when Team Flashback comes to Pwn to Own because they're always going to bring something that's quite exciting. These 2 are basically professionals, and so they put it together and they brought something that is actually quite scary. I mean, some of the more scarier exploits that we see at this year's Pwn to Own Tokyo live from Toronto is actually are these WAN side exploits. These are things that consumers and home router customers are not actually going to be securing that side of the router. So all they can really do is release the patch and hopefully that they'll be able to button up this bug and it won't be able to be used in the wild.
Yeah, and I wonder how many, not even just when they do produce a patch, how many home users know that they need to patch their Wi-Fi routers?
Yeah, I don't think that's most users out there are updating their home appliances and their home routers and their IoT devices, unless there's some sort of automated IoT, upgrade procedure in these devices. So, I think that's one of the things we need to see as we start as the industry starts to mature, is automatic updating of some of these IoT devices that will ensure that the bugs that are out there can't be exploited if they're already known by researchers and not used in botnets and things like that. So I think they really need to kind of push that forward. If we look at Google Chrome, it automatically updates, and a lot of these kind of more advanced software manufacturers are moving in that direction, and I think that's a positive thing.
Yeah, let's hope so, because speaking from experience, being a higher level user than most of the home users, it's a pain in the butt to update my router. You got to log in, you got to download the firmware, and then you got to kick all the kids offline for however long. And it's pretty easy to brick one if you mess it up. So hopefully we can push the industry towards some more reliable automatic updates for some of these devices.
Yeah, agreed.
So looking forward to tomorrow. So right now, you're talking about professionals. Team Flashback, their 2-day total is $40,000, and they're currently leading the Master of Pwn standings. But the DevCore team finished today with $20,000 win, and they start off tomorrow targeting the Western Digital. And if that's a full exploit, it's potentially $20,000 for them as well as 2 more Master of Pwn points, they could catch up and tie Team Flashback. Have we had a tie for Master of Pwn before? I don't think we have.
Yeah, we've never had it. Yeah, we've never had a tie for Master of Pwn. So this is quite interesting for us. You know, coming down to day 3, first attempt. You know, I think all of us are going to be watching this thing to see what happens. The disclosure process will be quite interesting because there's been quite a few collisions already with the Western Digital products, and so I'm sure Team Flashback is thinking about that as they are going to be watching the attempt tomorrow. There could be collisions that might allow them to pull away with the victory. But we never know until we get to the disclosure room and see what's actually going on. It's possible that we could have a tie for Master of Pwn, and that obviously would be a Pwn to own first, and actually would be quite exciting if it did happen. We'd have to get another trophy. I don't know how we would do that.
I don't know how we do that either. I floated the idea that the trophy would just stay with me if there's a tie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Like you manage it, like you send it to them half a year and then they send it back. That could be quite fun.
Yeah. Yeah, well, earlier today I had the chance to talk with Brian Mastenbrook, who's the Senior Director for Product Security Engineering at Western Digital. We had a great conversation about some of the security programs that they are putting forth, and they came out right before the contest with a big OS upgrade, and it took out quite a few things. And I think one of the things that's happened now is folks had very little time to look at it. So one of the reasons that all these collisions are occurring is it was the first thing they found. Is that a reasonable thought, or do you think it's something different?
Yeah, that's one of some of the advice that we give to contestants at the contest, like in Pwn to Own Miami and here at Pwn to Own Tokyo-ish. We tell them, you should maybe not use the first bug you find, right? Because more than likely a number of people are going to find that bug and possibly use it at the contest. Use maybe the more unique bugs or the ones that are harder to find that will give you an advantage in the disclosure room. It's kind of some solid advice if people are thinking about coming out in the future. In this case with Western Digital releasing an operating system really late in the game and forcing researchers to kind of look at the new code relatively quickly, I do believe that's why you're seeing a lot of those collisions. And I think if, maybe next year when they have more time to look at this, then they'll come in with some different vulnerabilities. I think it's interesting, because we require a bypass of authentication if one is present. I think it'll be interesting to see all the write-ups come out and see what people think of the bugs that exist in these products.
Yeah, and it's always the more esoteric bugs that are the more fascinating ones too, and end up with the more interesting write-ups post-patch release.
Yeah, I agree.
Like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's my, some of my favorite parts is of Pwn to Own is like after everything is done and we've gone through the contest and we have all of these white papers looking at the different exploit techniques, spending time reading them, understanding the approach that the researcher took to go after and find the vulnerability, I think is valuable, not only for us in the Zero Day Initiative as we're trying to build protections against the exploits that we're receiving, but also for the research community as a whole. I mean, we can understand the types of mitigations that need to be built in software. We can also understand how we can protect against it, and researchers who are working on the defensive side of the market can actually work to find vulnerabilities that are quite similar to the bugs that we're receiving in the program. And I know, like in our blog on the Zero Day Initiative website, we release a lot of the white papers from Pwn to Own, and they're some of the most popular blogs that we do actually every single year.
Yeah, absolutely. And Team Flashback's blog from earlier, I believe it was this year, but it was talking about Pwn to Own Tokyo from last year, was the impetus for a lot of the initial research into the TP-Link bugs for this year too. So kind of things rolling in full circle on that. And then we wrap up tomorrow. So we have 5 exploit attempts tomorrow, starting with the Western Digital. There's another Western Digital. The Sony TV makes its appearance, so that'll be interesting to see. The Samsung has fallen, but only fallen to end days. The device is fully updated, but the bug was previously known. We'll see how the Sony fares with that. And then we finish with the Star Labs targeting the Synology disk station again. That'll be interesting to see how their bug compares to the elegant heap overflow of the DevCore team. So have you looked at any of the stuff tomorrow? Any predictions there?
I don't know. It'll be quite interesting. I mean, I think we'll see. I mean, like I said, it's going to start off with a bang there with DevCore going after Western Digital. And I think, we'll see a lot of these individuals are new to Pwn to Own. So I'm hoping for a lot of success tomorrow. I mean, obviously, we want to spend all of the money we have allocated for Pwn to Own at the contest. And so we hope that everybody has successful entries. It allows us to, kill some of the bugs that are out there. We can get some patches released and protect against the exploitation of these bugs.
That's right. I mean, I'm not in Tokyo eating sushi this year, so we have the budget to buy all of the bugs, and let's do that instead.
Yeah, I'd be right there next to you, man. I know how it is.
I know, right at Happy by the Bay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so thank you, Brian, for joining us, and thank you, folks, for watching along on the stream. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll kick things off at about 9:40 with some initial thoughts. Our first attempt will be at 10, and again, that is the DevCore team targeting the Western Digital NAS. And that'll be a big thing. Could Master of Pwn is on the line. We'll see how that goes and whether or not we can mathematically eliminate some folks from Master of Pwn after that first attempt. So with that, we'll go ahead and sign off and say thank you for everyone. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Brian, again, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.
I'll drop it in that folder. This one's also rights cleared. Okay, streams are off now.